The 2020 school year at the University of Michigan has been different than any other year in the history of this institution. With COVID-19 spreading across the globe, this year has brought many unique challenges, including struggles with mental health due to isolation, grief due to the loss of loved ones, and difficulties learning due to not being able to go to school in person. The stay-at-home orders in effect all around the world force students and teachers to come up with creative ways to teach, learn, and create community, while still following the recommendations of healthcare professionals. As always, U of M students and faculty rose to the challenge. They went above and beyond to make sure that students were able to thrive in their U of M home, even in the middle of a global pandemic. As an incoming freshman this fall, I wasn't sure what to expect. This is not how I imagined I would start off my college experience, but I ended up having an incredible semester, full of academic growth, new friends, novel experiences, and personal successes. 2020 did not end up being the perfect vision that I predicted it to be. There were a lot of challenges this year, but through the hard work of the U of M and RC community, my first semester was still incredible. So many teachers, RC staff, and students came up with ways to make me feel like part of the RC community, and by the end of the semester, East Quad felt like my home. This video is a record of just a few of the remarkable solutions that students and faculty came up with to make this semester incredible, even in the midst of a pandemic. In keeping with the experience of many U of M students this semester, the interviews with students that are included in this video were recorded over Zoom while the students were at their homes. When University of Michigan announced that most classes would be taught virtually during the fall semester of 2020, teachers were called to come up with engaging ways to teach content either virtually or in socially distanced classrooms with a small group of students.
It was disappointing, but not that surprising because I had finished my senior year online. So it wasn't a huge transition, but it was still a little bit disappointing because I was really excited to meet people in my classes in college, and this made it a lot harder. But I still think that my teachers did a really good job of making class time fun and interesting, even though it was online.
I was disappointed, but it's probably the safest choice given the global pandemic. Yeah.
I really liked having a lot of asynchronous classes because I could kind of complete some of the classwork on my own time, and it really, even though it was an unfortunate sort of byproduct of COVID, it was kind of nice in the midst of everything to have a little bit more of a flexible class schedule. So I definitely liked that a lot more.
One of the best things about the college class schedule for me was that I could make my own schedule and I wasn't in classes for 8-10 hours a day. So there was a lot of freedom to do other stuff.
Due to the small sizes of most RC courses, the RC had a larger percentage of socially distanced in-person or hybrid classes than the rest of LSA. One way that RC faculty were able to make these in-person classes both safe and engaging was teaching outside. One of the professors that used this approach was Catherine Badgley, the director of the RC who taught my first-year seminar writing course.
I'm Catherine Badgley. I'm teaching a first-year seminar, and our theme is Lessons from Deep Time. And this class is partly about the deep time of the fossil record and places like the Grand Canyon, but it's also about the natural processes that are all around us. So I have just come back from the Arboretum, where I went with 13 of my students, and we spent the day there the afternoon there talking about ecosystem services. And these are processes and products that are produced by natural and managed ecosystems that benefit all of humanity. So it gave us all a new way of understanding and appreciating what the Arboretum has to offer, not only individually, but also collectively for the whole city. And it was a beautiful day to be there. After our conversation about ecosystem services, we met with one of the Arboretum staff who has developed a wonderful application for a smartphone called the Woody Plant Study Map that enables one to locate oneself within the Arboretum and see where about 200 different trees are as bright red dots on a map, and then either find that tree, find out what the tree is, how tall it is, its age, and a whole bunch of resources related to that tree. And I have assigned each of my students to write a tree journal as a way of getting them back to the Arboretum several times over the semester during the weird semester that we're in so that they can have more and more reasons to be outdoors and just spending time in nature.
Other RC classes, like RC arts classes, kept a more traditional format while adding social distancing precautions. Here we can see students working in the RC Visual Arts furniture making class taught by faculty member Raymond Wetzel. Some classes in the RC were held mostly or entirely in a virtual format. The majority of the RC language program classes took place in a hybrid format at the beginning of the semester, but later in the semester, with the state-mandated stay-at-home order, many of these classes were moved to an entirely online format. It can be very difficult to learn languages even in an in-person class, so online language classes were a very complicated challenge. But the RC language instructors were able to find ways to make sure every student was given the resources they needed to move closer to attaining proficiency in their chosen language. As opposed to the small RC classes, most of the large lecture classes in LSA, such as introductory level classes, were held online as asynchronous lectures. This made it very difficult for students to find community in those classes, but many students were able to find other students in these classes and create study groups, where they could work with each other in person with social distancing or over Zoom. Even RC forums were held online in an effort to make them available to students who weren't on campus due to COVID, which presented its own set of unique challenges. But with innovative usage of technology and creative topics, forums were able to be a place for students to not only find fascinating discussions, but also a place for students to find a community within the RC. I was in the Eco Forum, in which we discussed a variety of environmental topics, and the Film Forum, in which we shared and discussed the films that have been most impactful in our lives. These forums were educational, a good way to implement what I was learning in my large lecture classes on a smaller scale, and a great way to connect with other people in the RC that have similar interests to me.
I was in the RC's feminism forum, and I really wanted to join because I thought it would be a really interesting way to engage with issues relating to feminism kind of with my peers. And it was really interesting because we covered a lot of topics. We covered topics like women in the workplace, women in STEM, and toxic masculinity and how it relates to feminism. So I think it was a really interesting way to sort of get to know definitely some upperclassmen in the RC, and to sort of engage with those really important issues in a virtual format.
One of the things I really liked about the forums was how open they were. It's not that I wasn't expecting it, but it was super easy to just pop into some meetings, but not to all. So I definitely did that for DAP, the Diversity in Politics meeting. And the forum was super, super informative and a great open space for discussion. People, there was a presentation and we would educate people, whoever was presenting would educate people on what the topic was about, and then everyone could pitch in their opinions. But it was very informative and people were very well-spoken, and it was a great space for an open discussion without teetering on attacking or anything negative.
Forums were not the only place that people were able to find community in the RC. There were also many different virtual events hosted by the RC, like movie nights, game nights, and even dance parties. Another place that RC students were able to find community was within the dorms. Living in the dorms this year was unlike any other year in the past. Many lounges were completely closed, and the ones that were open had limited seating due to social distancing precautions. Students in the dorms had to be very careful about following health guidelines, but there were still opportunities for them to create friendships and create a community. One of the places that this community building was able to happen was in the East Quad courtyard. The dining hall this year was structured as a line, where you got food in takeout containers from a few different stations, and then took the food out of the dining hall to eat it elsewhere. Many students chose to sit 6 feet apart from one another in the courtyard. This allowed students to meet each other in person and contributed to the feeling of community in East Quad. One of the most prevalent challenges that students faced during this past semester was taking care of their mental health and staying hopeful in the face of the isolation and grief that the pandemic has made a pervasive part of everyday life.
This semester was a really hard time because we were like trapped indoors into our rooms for most of the time. But some of the ways I found to escape were through exercise, because I love running and being outdoors, and just being around nature makes me very happy, and exercise uplifts my mood. And another way is through music. And I was very fortunate. I got access to the practice rooms for 3 hours a week, about a month into the semester, and then I could practice my oboe there. And that is just a way for me to express myself and to relieve so much pent up energy.
I also found like exercise to be like my outlet this semester. I really liked being able to run in the Arb. I feel like that was a good way to, like, after you're cooped up all day sort of inside doing online classes, it was a nice way to sort of like get outside and exercise and kind of feel like productive. I don't know. Not that I didn't feel productive after school, but yeah, that was definitely really nice.
One of the ways I exercised and got to explore Ann Arbor and campus was by skateboarding. And I learned to skateboard in college, and it was really, really fun. And now it's something that I enjoy, want to keep doing. I realized, talking to some upperclassmen and my RA in particular, that I have no concept of what college would be like away from COVID. So I think that'll just mean that in the future, it'll be so much more exciting, and there'll be so many more opportunities to look forward to.
I definitely was able to find, fun things to do, and I'm definitely never going to forget this past semester. But I definitely kind of felt a little bit like I was missing out on what the normal freshman year experience would be. But that only makes me more excited for what we're going to be able to do, either next fall or a little bit after that, and how we're going to be able to experience college, like sort of in the more traditional way.
One of the aspects of community that I really, really enjoyed was my hall. We have a group chat, and we still discuss on there even after we've moved away. And we did movie nights and game nights, and I like the support. I knew that my RA was always there for me, and we could just go knock on her door and speak to her. And she made a bulletin board with more information about how to stay safe during COVID and help with your mental health and good practices. So I really like the sense of community that there was, not only in the whole RC or among the friends that I chose, but also in my hall.
I found that, amidst all of the struggles like socially this year, something that really helped me to meet new people was being able to eat outside with people in the courtyard. It really kind of made me feel like I had, some semblance of a social life when it was, hard to hang out with people in the way that, you would normally hang out with people.
Even with all the challenges, I found that everyone was super, super friendly and also wanted to make friends and find a community. So it was really easy for me to just approach people and talk to them. And then also just eating outside or going on long walks and stuff like that.
This semester has brought about several unprecedented challenges, and these challenges have inspired some incredible innovations. Everyone is anxious to be able to spend time with their friends and loved ones without having to worry about spreading a dangerous virus. Hopefully that time will come soon, and we'll never have to experience a year like this ever again. But I hope that we remember what happened during this time. I hope that we remember how creative our solutions were, and how we were able to build a community even in the middle of a global pandemic. I hope that we remember the times that we came together to show solidarity for people that were fighting for what they believe in. I hope that we remember how powerful our collective voice is, and how much we can change if we set our minds to it. Most of all, I hope that we remember our resilience. And I hope that we go into the future with confidence in our ability to overcome whatever challenges we are faced with. Best of luck in the next semester.